Hello. Just wanted to say hi to the person who said they're finally going to change your life this year. Yeah, your appointment starts now. Come on, you're a little late. So, first it says you are struggling to find out what to change. I would recommend doing something called finding the bright spots. So, if there's something that you're specifically struggling with in life, whether it's losing weight, whether it's making money, whatever the case may be, I need you to find areas in your life that you're already doing something similar and then just build upon them. A great example is I had a client about 2 months ago come to me, right? And she was saying how she was struggling with doing well in her math class, but asked her what classes does she actually do well in, and she said she does well in science. And I said, was there any difference between your science class and your math class? And she said, well, in my science class, me and my friend have like a study group where we quiz each other and we go over scenarios and we practice and stuff like that. And so I asked her, do you have that with your math class? And she said, well, no, math is hard and I don't know anybody else that is struggling with it. So I recommended to her to go to individuals in her classroom and ask them, hey, anybody want to be a part of a study group? Anybody want to come together and study? And I essentially replicate what she's doing in her English class. And she was able to find many people. And so eventually her grade did go up. How did that happen? Because she replicated her success. And I think that's what you need to do as well. You say, I want to go to the gym after work, but every time after I leave work, I'm so tired. Okay, so now we need to figure out what are the bright spots in your life? What are the areas in your day where you are the least amount of tired, where you have the most amount of energy? And that is when you are going to work out. You say, hey, I want to become a content creator, but I don't know what to post on social media. Go back to all the posts that you have done on social media and pay attention to the posts that did the best and recreate those and build upon it. You do not have to start from scratch. You can use the things essentially you've already been doing before, but just find out how to replicate those things. Another way to do it is finding the bright spots in others. So let's say, for example, actually, I want you to do this. Go on social media, find between 4 to 7 people who are doing what you want to do, who have done what you want to do, and find the bright spots inside of them. Everybody has their own version of how they started their business. Everybody has their own version of how they grew on social media, how they graduated school, all of these things. But what I want you to do is pay attention to the similarities. A lot of winners, a lot of people who achieve things have a lot of similarities. Even if they come from different backgrounds, even if they come from different races, they have a lot of similar things that they do. And so I want you to do that. Find the bright spots. Find the key indicators of things that are already working for you or already working for other people. And I want you to figure out how to implement them with the things you are struggling with currently so you can replicate that success for yourself. Okay, so it says here that you don't know specifically what to do, right? Last time it says that you tried to implement these things, but then they didn't really work. Well, you need to do something we're going to call script the moves. You need to script out what you are going to specifically do. See, the problem is you tell yourself, I'm going to eat healthier. You tell yourself, I'm going to post content. You tell yourself, I'm going to study more. But you need to script out what you are going to specifically do, similar to how you would script it out to an actor if you would give him or her their lines. For example, instead of saying, I want to eat healthier, say, I'm going to eat vegetables with every single meal. So there's no way going around it. There's no way for you to feel like, dang, am I being healthy? Dang, am I being not? Ask yourself, are you eating vegetables with every single meal? Instead of telling yourself, oh, I'm going to start posting on social media. No, I'm going to post every single day at 1 and 3 o'clock. So you don't have to ask yourself, am I really posting on social media? Am I really a content creator? You can see it. And think about this, the moves that you want to do, the bright spots that you want to implement. Ask yourself, if you were to tell someone else to do them or 2 to 3 other people to do them, would they be doing the same exact thing, or would they be doing their own versions of things, their own versions of being healthy, their own versions of studying? Would they be doing them at different times in different ways? And if they would be doing them differently, then you are not scripting out your moves. You have to tell yourself specifically what you are going to be doing so it's not left up into interpretation, because that's a lot of times why it seems like you struggled in the past. You told yourself you wanted to do something, but then when the time came to do it, you're like, well, technically this is kind of being healthy. Well, technically this is kind of me working on my business, because you didn't script out exactly what you needed to do. Let's go on to the next one. Okay. So it says here that you also struggle with figuring out who you want to become. I see this happen all the time, figuring out exactly what you want to achieve. So we're going to have you do something called point to the destination. Figure out exactly, essentially, take a snapshot, if you will, in your mind of the specific thing that you want to achieve. So scripting your moves are the specific things you want to do, but your destination is the exact place you want to go. So, for example, instead of saying, I want to be healthier, your destination needs to be, in the summertime, I want to run a 5K. You even could be specific as saying, in June, I want to run a 5K. Instead of saying, I want to save money, say, in 6 months, I want to have my savings be 2 times the amount that I have in my checkings. Instead of saying, I want to make money on social media, say, by the end of the year, I want to match the amount of money I make on social media with the same amount of money I make in my 9 to 5. The problem that you've been struggling with is that you're way too vague. You actually don't know what direction your life is going in. And it shows here that time after time you try to go after things, but similar to scripting the moves, it's left up into interpretation. What does it mean to become a content creator? What does it mean to save more money? What does it mean to be healthier? Well, you need to figure out exactly what that destination, that point will look like for you. Now, I also see here that you're kind of scared, right? Because it says here that you sometimes do have motivation to start certain things. You do go to the gym, you do start the workouts, you do start the business, but then something in you just dies off. It doesn't want to do it anymore. Now, there's one way to look at it, I recommend feeling the destination, right? Thinking about the feeling that you are going to get when you finally cross that finish line, the feeling that you are finally going to get when you can make enough money to pay, your bills with content creation, that feeling, which is good because feelings are a lot of time what ties us to things, right? You're tied to that car because the feeling that that car gave you, the nostalgia. You're tied to that relationship, possibly because the feeling that that person has given you in the past, and so many other things. Now, what I want you to do is replicate that feeling in this instance. Instead of looking to the future and saying, oh, I really want to feel this thing and I really want to feel that thing and I can't imagine what it feels like. You need to make sure you can feel it today and you can look back at it today. So, what I would recommend to do is for 7 to 30 days, you need to pick a specific number. You are going to script your moves. You are going to find out specific things that you are going to do between 7 to 30 days. Now, every single night, I'm going to need you to journal. I know you're like, ugh, journaling again. The reason why I need you to journal is because I want you to remember the feeling that you got when you said you were going to wake up at 6 a.m. and you actually did it. The feeling that you got when you said you were too tired to go to the gym, but you actually went. The feeling that you got when you first got a couple followers on social media. Because the problem that happens with a lot of people is that we do kind of achieve these things, right? You got a couple followers, you probably made a couple dollars, you possibly lost a pound or two, but we don't remember the feeling that we got, so it's hard to attach ourselves to something that happened what feels like so long ago. So what I need you to do is write down that feeling. So when the time comes of you lacking motivation, when the time comes of you feeling tired, you can tell yourself, go back to the journal. Look at the feeling that I got when I didn't want to wake up but I still did. Look at the feeling that I got when I first got my first couple followers on social media. Because it is going to be a time when some of these things are going to become normal and mundane and just boring. But I want you to remember the feeling, how you felt, the victory that you felt when you actually consistently did these things. I need you to get into a loop of victory. I need you to get in a loop of accomplishments. Because the problem is you accomplish these things for a week or maybe two, and then you don't do them again all year. And so I rather you get into the loop of doing accomplishments consistently and knowing the feeling that you've gotten from them instead of forgetting them and being like, yeah, I kind of did remember waking up. I kind of did remember doing this thing. No, you can say specifically how you felt in that moment. So it says here, okay. So perfect. I went right into it. So it says that you do suffer from not feeling accomplished, right? See, you do these things for a little bit, but then eventually they die off for you, like many people. So we need to have you do something called shrink the change. We actually need to shrink the amount of change that is going on in your life so that you can get into, like I said earlier, the accomplishment loop so that you can consistently start doing things. I'm so sorry. My office is right in front of the window and it is very bright. But we are going to get you to start getting into the loop of accomplishing things by having you do small changes. So instead of having you, I know you want to go to the gym 5 times a week, but instead of doing that, can we just get you to start walking in the morning, walking for 10 minutes every single morning, or maybe going on YouTube and looking up a 10-minute workout? The idea is we want to get your body to feeling like, I actually did something, because it feels good, like I said, to do something for 5 to 7 days. But when there's such big things, when you're trying to change your life so much, it's very hard to stick to those things, just to be realistic with yourself. So instead of saying I have to clean my entire room, give yourself the satisfaction of cleaning a corner in your room. Instead of saying that, I have to make money on social media, get yourself to actually post something on social media and then start doing those things consistently. So it can give your body, it can give your mind the feeling of, I actually accomplished something. I feel good about accomplishing something. Because imagine the feeling, which will feel better for you. Imagine accomplishing big things for 7 days or accomplishing small things that will grow bigger for 45 days. Which do you think will give you more motivation? The big things that you only did for a minute amount of time, or the small things that you grew upon? It's not saying you're not going to start running every single morning. It's not saying that you're not going to start posting consistently and figuring out your niche and all these other things. But what I want you to get to start doing is the small changes. What I want you to get used to is actually the feeling of being a winner. Because it seems like to hear you don't actually know what that feels like. So we're going to start that for you. Now, okay, so another thing I want you to do, because it says here what messes you up a lot of times too, is that you go back to your old ways because you go back to your old people. So one thing I want you to start doing is something called grow your people. You need to grow the individuals that are around you that are doing what you want to do, because by default you can't help it. We all want to be a part of a community. We all want to feel like we are part of something, and you deserve to have that too, especially when you're trying to do something new to keep you on the right path. So I need you to start hanging around individuals who are doing what you want to do. A great example of this can be volunteering. I think a lot of times when people think of volunteering, they think of feeding the homeless, or they think of caring for children. And though those are great things as well, maybe that's not specifically in the direction that you want your life to go in. But I recommend looking up on Google volunteering opportunities in wherever that you live and looking them up, because you can volunteer at galas, you can volunteer at expos, you can volunteer at arenas. Like, I don't want you to think volunteering has to be around you always being around people that are less fortunate, or you always being around individuals that possibly aren't doing what you want to do in life and you just have to help them get to where they want to be. You can volunteer at places where people are actually doing what you want to do. And if you think about it, if you're volunteering there, that means you possibly like that thing, whether it's an expo, whether it's a convention. And so the other people volunteering are probably very similar to you, right? They're not in those places, in those spaces yet either, but they want to be. And that's a great way to start meeting similar people to you, is to start volunteering. Another thing that you can do is attending some of these expos and these conventions. For example, if you are a Black woman in tech, they have AfroCon. If you even like anime or different things like that, they have Comic-Con. Um, Afrotech. Did I say Afrotech or I say Afrocon? Sorry. I think I might have messed that up. But the idea behind it is that you can start looking up, especially if you have something specifically that you want to do or specifically that you want to achieve. I promise you, every single niche has a convention, every single niche has a con or an event or an expo. So start looking at those as well, because those can definitely help you. Another thing too is group things. So maybe you're going to start doing some more group hobbies. Maybe that's you doing pottery, right? In a class around other individuals. Maybe that's you going to Pilates, or you doing some kind of group workout class. Essentially just growing your people. And the final thing I also want to mention with that, because I know you don't do this as well, talk to the people who you are already around and ask them, hey, do you want to work out every single Wednesday? Me and my friends had something called Wind Down Wednesday, where every single Wednesday we would just dance and we would turn on something on TV and we would get in a good workout. A lot of times too, there are individuals around you that are thinking very similar to you, but it's because you never brought it up and they never brought it up. So you never were able to grow your people the way you want to. So you're constantly looking for outside people and outside experiences when you have some great ones that are already there, but you just don't use. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk to you about because it seems like your environment, from what you told me, is not conducive to the life that you want. What we need to start doing is causing the things that you don't want to do to have the most amount of resistance to essentially be the hardest. So, for example, tweaking your environment looks like when you go to the grocery store, we are not buying unhealthy snacks. So, when you go home, you do not have the option to even eat them. This also looks like if you struggle waking up in the morning, you turn on the snooze button and you just so happen to, sleep in a little later, or you find yourself on your phone for 45 minutes past when you wake up. We are going to take that phone out of your room. We're actually going to put it inside of the bathroom at night, and inside of your room we are going to have an alarm clock. Not just an alarm clock in your room. We're going to have the alarm clock that's somewhere where you have to physically get up to turn it off. We need to start tweaking the environment, okay? We need to have a little corner inside of your home, very small, where we might have a little mat, we might have some weights, and that is your workout corner. You know, when you go there, that is specifically where you work out, and you do not work out if you're not over there. And it causes this environment tweak in you so you can remind yourself, oh, wait, I haven't worked out in a while because I'm seeing the area that is collecting dust. Oh, wait, I haven't eaten, bad stuff in a while because it's not inside of my house. You can start moving your groceries in eyes length or eyes view in your fridge. A lot of times too, when it comes to the fruits and vegetables, we put them in the little cupboards and, you don't find them. And then you finally find them. It's like, these strawberries, go old so fast. And these blueberries go old so fast. And these vegetables, I couldn't even use them. Yes, because there was somewhere that you weren't going to see. But you know what you did have visible? The juice. You know what you did have visible? The snacks and all those other things. So that's another thing you can do as well. But I'm going to need you to start tweaking your environment, changing your environment so that it is easier for you to do the things that you want to do. They're more so inside of your face, and it's harder for you to do the things that you don't want to do. And stop using that elevator at work. Okay, you need to actually start walking up those stairs. That can tweak your environment to help you get into the repetition of actually working out more. Small changes. Remember, I said that. And the final thing I want you to do, because it seems like we didn't talk about this before in our last session, is I need you to start figuring out a way to build these habits, right? Habits are essentially things that you do consistently. There are a lot of times the things that you do on autopilot and you don't really think about. So we are going to get you to start building your habits, but you have to find a system that you want to build them with. And so one of the things I recommend to start doing is possibly a reward system, right? We found out the scripted moves, the specific things that you need to start doing at specific times. When you do those things, reward yourself with something small. It doesn't have to be something big. And I know some people are like, oh, I shouldn't have to reward myself. I'm an adult. I shouldn't have to reward myself. That's childish. When you graduate school, they have a whole ceremony. They have the plaques. They have all these things. Why? Don't you graduate school to get a better job? Don't you graduate school to move on? What was the point of rewarding you? To make you feel good about what you did, to make you feel accomplished, to make it feel worthwhile. A lot of people, that's all they think about when they're going to school. I can't wait to my graduation ceremony. I can't wait because it's something to look forward to. So give that same thing to yourself. Reward yourself with something. Obviously, not something that's going to set you back, but reward yourself with something that you would like so that you can get into the repetition of doing these things and feeling good while you're doing these things. Another one to do if you're more of an analytical numbers person, track your progress. I think what messes up a lot of people too is we look at everything as starting from zero, right? When you started working out again, when you started posting on social media again, when you started going back to school, whatever you do, you look at it from zero. I need you to start tracking your progress to help you build that habit of consistency. So tracking your progress can be different. Maybe it's you have a bulletin board of a big calendar on your wall and you mark X's on all the days that you work out so you can actually track how often you work out. Maybe it's you're growing on social media and your analytics you have as screensavers inside of your phone. They need to be places that you're actually going to see. If you have your weight inside of your notes app, if you have screenshots of, you rowing your analytics or something on social media inside of your pictures on your phone, you're not actually going to see those things. They need to be something, one, that you are tracking, but two, that is visibly always causing that repetition in your head is I'm progressing, I'm keep going. It's causing that loop to make you feel like you are accomplishing something. Another one I'll recommend is habit stacking. Habit stacking is good as well. So this is essentially when you are stacking one habit with another. So every single Friday your favorite show comes out, usually rub your feet together and sit on the couch and watch the show. Instead of doing that, we are going to go to the gym. We said we want to start moving out, working out more. Okay. Go to the gym, put on our headphones, walk on the treadmill, and watch our show. The idea is to stack the habits of things that you already are doing with the things that you want to start doing more. And that should definitely help you as well. It's one of my favorite ones to do, especially with like my self-growth journey, whether it's me driving to work and I'm listening to a podcast, whatever the case may be. But you get into the habit of consistency because you're stacking something with something else. And so every time I get into my car, my first thought is, okay, what podcast do I want to listen to? Every time your show comes on, you should think, okay, what time am I going to the gym? It starts that building of a habit thing. So you know when you do one thing, you always do another. And you could do a mixture of all three, or you can find different habit ways that you want to build, but essentially finding what works best for every case scenario. And of course, you have to go through trial and error. So this session was pretty good. I hope this time that it actually sticks with all the tips and the tricks that I have given you. Essentially, it's time to change your life. It seems like it didn't work before, but we need it to work this time. So even if you need to, come back to the session and watch it again. But we are always going to have more sessions every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. So come back for those as well. And if you did like this video, I actually got all of these tips from a book called Switch: How to Change When Change is Hard by Chip and Dan Heath. So I definitely recommend to check out that book. Also, go into the show notes below and sign up for my newsletter to get updates. I'm going to start posting some motivational content and different things like that. And also, I'm coming out with a podcast soon so that you're sent that and updated about the podcast. Make sure that you sign up for the newsletter. But thank y'all so much, and I hope y'all have a great one. And like I said, do not forget to come back for new videos every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank y'all, and have a great